Welcome to the Laws of Life webcast network. The Laws of Sex starts now.
Hi, everybody. It's Dr. Stacy and my co-host Blanca. How is everybody doing tonight?
So excited to be here. Great topic tonight.
I am trying a new thing here to start a watch party. I'm clueless.
No problem. So actually, it's good for everybody out there watching that supports Dr. Stacy Friedman and her webcast that you work so hard every week to produce, to create educational seminars. So one way that you can help each other is you can open up that live feed that you see on your phone on your page, and then click. You should see a little button with an arrow that says the share button,
Oh, I think I found it.
and then you'll see another button that says watch party.
Oh, see, I
And
learn something new
then
every day.
you'll press the third button, start watch party. And now I'm throwing a watch party on your webcast, which means I'm alerting all my friends to watch your live right now. And you've just done that? You've done it?
I think I did it.
All right. And you clicked start watch party? All right.
I think so. See,
So
they say you can't teach an old dog new tricks.
absolutely. And everybody out there, again, that supports Dr. Stacy, Sharon Elizabeth Sumner, my friend from high school in Pittsburgh's watching from the watch party. Hi, Sharon. Ask a question tonight of Dr. Stacy Friedman. We want these webcasts to be engaging. We want real conversations. And if you ask a question of Dr. Stacy, I'll put it in the chat. Make sure Dr. Friedman answers it. So with that, what is on tap tonight?
Well, I also wanted to let people know I did get some feedback that some people might be a little shy to type their questions. So I want to make sure people could ask them privately, and they can private message me. So that way I can look at them and answer them that way as well. So that way, if you're shy, you could still get your question answered. So today I wanted to talk about my quote of the week.
Awesome.
Here you go. My quote of the week says, yeah, if I could just go ahead and stop peeing every time I sneeze, that would be great.
Wouldn't that be wonderful?
That would be wonderful. And I realize, especially as I'm getting older, after having kids, all this kind of stuff, I just thought it was funny because between sneezing, coughing, and laughing too much, it's a recipe for disaster when you're trying to hold your bladder.
It is. Now, does this happen at a certain age for women versus men?
Obviously, as you get older, muscles start loosening. And that is something that, just like any other muscle in your body, you need to keep strong. So they have the pelvic floor muscle that needs to keep tight to help you with your bladder and everything else. So between having kids, you get looser. And it's not just women, it's men as well. Sometimes prostate cancer, different things can cause these loose pelvic muscles. So, at least you're laughing and you're having fun while you're peeing your pants. So at least that's a good thing. But that brings me to my subject of tonight, and that would be talking about Kegels. And like I said, it's not just something that is for, women to work on. Men need to work their Kegel muscles also. So it's very important to be able to strengthen them, make sure it helps keep them tight for sex, for health reasons. And we'll go into that moving forward. But some people might say, what is a Kegel? What is a Kegel exercise? What is Kegel muscles? Where did it even come from? So this guy, Dr. Arnold Kegel, however you want to say it, he's a GYN. And he is the one that actually prescribed doing these exercises to help for urinary incontinence, muscle weakness, any type of laxity in the pelvic muscles. And basically, the Kegel exercise is just squeezing your muscles in the pelvic floor, and it can help strengthen things and get rid of a lot of problems that you may have with the pelvic floor, like peeing in your pants when you're laughing too much. I can't hear you for some reason.
It's crazy
Oh,
that
there you
one
are.
doctor in his field became a legend in his field by prescribing this movement. It's fascinating. His name is eternal through time.
Absolutely. And it's all about just squeezing, squeezing, squeezing. So I definitely will describe some of the benefits of doing these Kegel exercises. So on the next screen, we talk about the benefits of the Kegel exercises for men. And that helps also strengthen the pelvic floor, helps with urinary incontinence. It helps with erectile dysfunction, increasing blood flow, which in turn will increase your pleasure, and it increases the strength of your orgasm.
You got You've got
So,
to be kidding me right now.
no, it's great. And I just had to share this. I know that this is not really about Kegels, but we're talking about men.
Mm-hmm.
And please don't be intimidated, men. But I just went and got I got a veggie box today from, the vegetable stand. I
Uh-huh.
just had to show you my zucchini.
That's the way a
Are
sex
these,
therapist shops.
is this the largest zucchini you've ever seen in your life?
Um, it really is. And you know what? I never wanted to go grocery shopping, but now you've inspired me.
Yes, I got the box. We have a neighbor that brings the boxes, and I opened up the box and I'm like, okay, these are going in my show.
There you go. Look at Dr.
So it
Stacy.
helps
She's
with
putting it on
erectile
the
function.
line, people. She's putting it on the line. Where are your questions? Put yourself on the line. Let's get fired up tonight. I want to hear an amazing question of Dr. Stacy. Come on. No
So
more shyness.
so for women, now we can talk a little bit about the women.
Okay.
Yeah, we spoke a little bit about some of the ways that it could help men, and I'll discuss some exercises on how it could help. But for women, it helps improve your blood flow for also better orgasms. When you're using the muscle, you're strengthening it. So it also helps increase vaginal lubrication. And same thing with urination. And of course, I had to put in farting because, we like to
Wait a
be a
minute.
lady.
It promotes that? The
No,
Kegel?
no, it helps. It helps keep it.
All right. I was going to say, if
Sometimes
that's your definition of a pro, we need to talk, doctor.
no, what it does is that when you're using those Kegel muscles to
Mhm.
tighten up, you're tightening up in the pelvic floor. It's almost like when you go to the bathroom and you're urinating, you stop yourself from urinating. That's kind of a good way to practice if you're not, doing exercises outside of the toilet. But when you're
Okay.
sitting on the bathroom, if you're urinating, just stop yourself. And that's kind of that feeling that you want to have when you're using your Kegel muscles. And when you're, let's say, in a store, there's people around, you ever get that feeling you're going to like have to, you know, pass gas? You kind of hold it in. It's that same strength. So the stronger your Kegel muscles are, the better chance you have of not letting one loose. So
Well, there you go, people. There's another benefit.
benefits.
I mean, it sort of is. It's an implicit benefit of strengthening.
Absolutely.
But who would have thought that all these benefits would exist? I have to say, I'm
Absolutely.
surprised. I'm surprised.
So also a lot of women after childbirth, they also lose a lot of muscle tone down in that area. So doing Kegels can help with that muscle tone. It can help improve sex. One other thing, which is really nice, which I just so happen to have my example here, but when you go to have sex, if you're
Mm-hmm.
with a male partner,
Mm-hmm.
the Kegel muscles, I mean, the Kegel exercises are very helpful when you're having sex because it tightens your vaginal walls. So for some people that maybe feel a little bit more loose, you can use the Kegel muscles to tighten. So when the guy goes inside of you, you tighten that Kegel around that muscle, your vaginal muscle, use that
Right.
Kegel exercise. You're going to make that tighter around your partner, which is going to feel much better for them and make it feel like that grip, like that death grip.
So I mean, you can actually bring more pleasure to your partner by
hmm
doing this.
Yeah, absolutely. So when the partner's going in, if let's say you're like this and you're like, okay, yeah, it feels good. But what about if you go like this and then you tighten it a little bit as the partner's pushing in?
They're never going to
Or,
leave you if you
yeah.
learn that trick. Come
And then
on.
pulling it out, you're tightening it also because it also helps on their end because they're feeling that tightening sensation down towards the tip when you're pulling it out. So those muscles can be very beneficial when you're having penis and vagina intercourse.
All right. Well, you heard it here first. I think that is a very good strategy that a lot of people don't think about very often. And it's something that you can easily do independently. You don't even, right? People can
Oh,
do this by
absolutely.
themselves.
Absolutely. The Kegel muscles you can use and strengthen on your own. But here it's talking about that 50% of women do the pelvic floor exercises incorrectly. And so it's important to be able to learn exactly how to do it, exactly, because sometimes they'll use the upper area, like their stomach muscles. But that's why when people are trying to understand how you're supposed to do an exercise, picture going to the bathroom or trying to hold in when you're passing gas or going the other number two, whatever it is, whenever you feel like you have to hold yourself down there, that's how you want to do it, not from your stomach.
Okay, that's good to know. Very
Yeah.
important.
Yeah.
I can't
So,
believe so many people do it wrong.
well, right now everyone's trying it. You just don't see them. You probably tried it too, didn't you? Didn't you like suck it in
Well,
when I talked about it?
interestingly, Cheryl Capobianco said that says hello, watching the show. Cheryl is the sponsor of the Laws of Fashion and the owner of Tiki Hut Living. So
Oh,
all
fun.
of us, yeah, she's watching. She said she had 3 C-sections, but she doesn't have an issue. Thank God.
Wonderful, wonderful. The C-sections can be a little bit helpful just because you're maybe cutting and you're not actually going out of the vagina. But for women, even that area, just the tightness can be helped with Kegel muscles. So it's definitely beneficial for a lot of women. In the next slide, it actually says 1 out of 4 women that are over 18 experience involuntary urine leakage. So you had asked me a question before about what age do you start having issues? This is saying that some women over 18 can have some issues. So it's very important to keep strengthening those muscles.
Throughout your life, it sounds like.
Oh, absolutely.
So you're gonna. How often? How many times a day? How many times a week do you recommend?
Well, what they tell you to do, which I do have a slide of that, they do tell you to do it um, 3 times. They say try to get to 3 times a day, 10 reps each time you do it.
Really, that's quite a lot.
So yeah,
You,
it sometimes takes 2 to 3 weeks to really start seeing a change. But if you do it every single day, you'll see on one of the slides that I go ahead of, it'll explain a little bit how to actually do it. And if you're doing it by yourself, because that's one thing is you could actually exercise it by yourself because you're sitting here not doing anything right now. I could be doing Kegels and nobody knows. Like right now, I'm
that's
doing a
true.
Kegel.
All right, me too.
Okay, see? And so is the whole audience.
There you go. All right, audience, let's do some
Then,
Kegels on 1, on 2. Send me a picture.
yeah.
Ah,
So
um,
now so now we're talking about women and some of the exercises that they can do. And
yeah.
this one, it shows a before and after. And the reason why I thought it was funny actually is because the after looks exactly the same as the before, but that's because you're not seeing what she's doing because
Mhm.
it's a Kegel exercise. So basically
Yeah.
she's sitting up, she's taking a deep breath. And then when it's time to, do the Kegel exercise, she's pulling in her, pelvic muscle, she's tightening it and she's letting it out. And she's kind of aligning her body. So that way she's focusing just on the pelvic floor muscle.
Nice.
So that's one exercise that could be helpful. The next one is the pelvic thrust. Now, sometimes you have to be careful. You don't want to, work your muscles too hard, too long, because you don't want them to be sore. Like, you go to the gym, you could sometimes work out for a couple hours and you can't walk the next day. Everything's sore.
True.
You don't want to not be able to hold your bladder the next day. So
That's
that's why it's important to just take your time with these exercises and not overdo it. So in this one, she's laying down and she's just lifting the pelvis up. So as she's lifting up, she's tightening that butt area, which helps hold in the gas, helps
great.
with that pelvis. So that's another position.
Amazing.
And the next one they call squat, where she's standing and then she halfway goes down, she's tightening, and then she goes down even further, where she's opening up her pelvis, but at the same time tightening it inside. So that gives it even more
Oh,
exercise, more strength.
and
So
also
those,
Carol Wilkinson, another webcaster in the Laws of Life communities watching. Carol is the host of the Laws of Mirror Your Magnificence. So thanks for watching, Carol.
Thank you.
And if you have a question, we'd love to hear it. You can put it in the chat of the live feed, and we'll make sure that Dr. Stacy answers it.
So then we want to talk about the men now. We were talking about erectile dysfunction, how sometimes doing the Kegels can help the erectile dysfunction. And more than 50% of men over 40 experience erectile dysfunction. So that's why I say it's also important for men to do their exercises. So in the next slide, we talk about some exercises that they could do to help with their sexual function. So this is obviously, some of them are going to be similar to women. But this one is the same thing where the pelvic exercises, where you're also tightening the pelvic floor muscles. And that's going to help bring the blood flow, help increase the sensation and feeling for sex as well.
Amazing.
Yeah. So if you see somebody on the floor like that, you know that they're doing their Kegels. And then this one also, you're lifting your legs and you're squeezing your butt tight. So it's not for your abs. I mean, you're still going to get some strong abs, which can help, but it's more about kind of having your legs in the air and then just kind of lifting up just a tiny bit as you tighten, because that's going to be tightening that lower pelvis muscle. And as we go a little further, you'll see a picture where I actually show you where the pelvis muscle is.
Sure.
And then the other one, Kegel exercise, is doing what they call kind of like a cat stretch, but it's kind of backwards. You're holding yourself up. You're allowing the whole body to be open so the blood flow can go through. And as you tighten up your back like that, you're tightening up your butt muscle, which in turn tightens up the pelvic muscle.
Phenomenal.
Yeah. So these are some exercises that men and women can do.
And they're specifically tailored for each men and for women.
Yeah. And so you had asked me before what you're supposed to be kind of doing. And what you do is you're tensing your muscles for a count of 3. So you tense it, 1, 2, 3, and then you relax, 1, 2, 3. And you do it 10 times. And then once you can actually hold your muscles tense for the count of 10, then you do that 3 sets a day until you start seeing some change. And like I said, it could take 2 to 3 weeks to start seeing a difference. Same thing if you go to the gym. So basically just try to do it. And then if you're not sure, if you don't have any toys around, which I'll show you a couple of toys that may be helpful, do it by yourself, do it while you're eating dinner, do it while you're watching TV, do it on the toilet, whatever you want.
Yeah. No, that's such a good reminder. There's so many benefits to these exercises. And for those of you just joining, you're watching The Laws of Sex with Dr. Stacy Friedman. Dr. Friedman is the sex coach of the Laws of Life community, the official sex coach. So feel free to ask any questions that you have.
Absolutely. So I want to show you on the sex facts next page, you can actually see where the muscles are and how it works. So the red line right there, if you see the red line, that's the muscle. And so on the left side, you have the penis, and the yellow circles the bladder. And then to the right of it is the bowel, and then the anus. So the pelvic floor holds up the bladder and holds up the bowel, and also allows the anus to keep its strength. So all of that is for the man. And on the right side, you have the same thing with the bladder and the bowel, but on a woman, you have the uterus as well. So when you have a C-section or when you deliver babies, those are the areas that might be a little bit less has less strength in there, because you could see it goes right along the line of that muscle. So that's where you're going to see the strength and the helpfulness by tightening everything up down there.
Interesting. Very cool.
Yeah. So I gotten a couple of questions, and one of the questions had asked me about Benoit balls. I remember when 50 Shades came out, it was, the Benoit balls were so popular when the book came out, not the movie, but the book. I had so many problems selling them for some reason. And then all of a sudden the movie comes out and every single person wanted Benoit balls, and I was on back order for like 6 months. I didn't do my job, I guess, very well trying to explain how they were used. But Christian Grey did. Anyway, the Benoit balls from 50 Shades of Grey, they wanted to try to use them. They never did, but they were always afraid that it would get stuck or lost. Is that possible? And how do I get them out? Help. And that is
That's
a
a
common
problem.
concern, right? So the next, the slide after, I'll explain about the Benoit balls. But right here, if you could see on Toy Talk Thursday, on the left side, we have some silicone Benoit balls that actually have a string that's attached. And on the right side are the gold ones that are just kind of loose. So when you ask me, they are not going to get stuck or lost, because when you go into the vagina, you have a cervix, and the cervix is going to be closed. If you haven't had a hysterectomy, sometimes people have their cervix removed. But either way, the cervix is closed, so it's not going to get lost. But you don't want to sit there and just shove, 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 like that. They're not going to get lost. If you want to try to get them in, you put some lube on there, you put them in. And if you want to try to get them out, you could put a little extra lube, or you could just jump up and down. But I would say for people that are maybe beginning, they would want to get the one where the cord actually hangs out. Have you? Yeah,
That
so you're
makes
going to,
sense.
yeah, because they may not necessarily know how to use them, but what they are, they're like weighted balls. So inside of that little like silicone purple container, there's a little ball in there, and it has some room to move around. So when it
Yeah.
goes up there, you could actually hold it tight and let it go, and hold it tight so you have like a weight. So it's just like working out with a weight.
There you go. And we have a question from the live audience. Are these exercises, are they also going to improve orgasms for women?
Absolutely, because what it does is any type of exercise helps improve blood flow. So when you have more blood flow and you have more lubrication and you're opening up all of your system, it's going to allow for more sensation.
There you go.
Benoit balls, sometimes they say, can also help when you're using them, because when you're walking around, it stimulates different nerve endings inside of your body. So basically, you keep them in there. You could do the exercises, or you could just keep them in there and walk around through the day and practice with them. And sometimes people actually say they have more sexual sensation with these Benoit balls.
And I imagine these are not very expensive either.
No, they're not. They run anywhere from probably $10 to $30, depending on, they have like jade ones, they have glass ones, or Pyrex. So they have a lot of really pretty ones too. So it just depends on what you want, but they're very reasonable, and they're good things. So that's answering that question about getting stuck or lost and how to get them out. It's probably best to either open up your leg and try to reach in with some lube. Otherwise, and also that's, if you are not experienced, don't use the plain gold ones to walk around all day, because you don't want them falling out while you're walking.
No, that could be awkward. That
Yeah.
could be a seriously awkward moment. Yeah, go with what Dr. Stacy
Yeah.
recommends. She's the expert, okay? Go with that.
And if anyone does like any of the Benoit balls, they can go to my drstacyfriedman.com site, and you can use the code TTT20, and you get 20% off of your order. So you can get some of the balls. This one is the Kegel silicone or Benoit balls. There's a lot of different styles. So pick what you want and use TTT20 for 20% off.
Well, it's a really incredible Cheryl says it would be like laying an egg. That's probably true, Cheryl. I
Laying
think
an egg.
you've got a point there. Probably would be a fair analogy.
Well, they call it yoni egg. Yoni is like the word for the vagina, and egg is, a lot of them are shaped as eggs, yoni eggs. So it is like laying an egg.
That's so funny. I love it. I am learning so much.
Good. One other thing I wanted to share was a good position to help women when the person asked the question about the orgasm, that it can help. This is called the double squeeze. And if you notice, the guy's legs are on the outside of the woman instead of the inside, where the woman has her legs closed or closer. The guy is inside of her. And as he's in you, if you tilt your pelvis up a little bit and use the Kegel muscles at the same time, you're going to start feeling a little bit more thrusting, rubbing up against the pelvic area and the clitoral area, rather than just having that in and out where you're not really, doing as much. So when you're in that position, your legs are tight, the penis is more, it's kind of hard to go in and out. So it's more thrusting and more rubbing. And at the same time, you're tightening your Kegels. That's going to have a really good sensation and possibly a really good orgasm in that position.
Yeah, so by doing these Kegels, you're also opening opportunities up to try different sexual positions that could be more satisfying because of the Kegel.
Absolutely. So that was one of my favorite positions I found for good opportunity for women's orgasms. So now, basically, my law of sex is do Kegels. Both men and women can definitely benefit from them, and you can practice them anywhere. And all of you that are watching right now, I hope that you're practicing, and let me know how it goes. And check in with me in 2 to 3 weeks to see if your sex and orgasms are getting that much better.
It could happen that fast?
Yeah, absolutely.
Come on, guys, let's get with the program. We start doing our Kegels, everything gets better. It sounds like it solves a lot of challenges.
Absolutely. It's definitely a good benefit. And I think one of the best things that you can do when if you're with a male and female partner, is trying that Kegel exercise while you're having sex. Sit on there or lay down and have it in there and tighten at the same time. And I can guarantee your partners will be like, whoa, what are you doing? Where'd you learn that? Say, Dr. Stacy.
There you go. Surprise your partner tonight. Show them what you learned on the laws of sex. And yeah, you're right. It is party. Oh, Victoria Rose Watson is watching, and Chance Oliver is watching. Hey, guys. Debbie Bourgeois Bumford, Chris Stye. We got a lot of people. Steph Martyr, Helen Schreiner, Paul Vadiano, Liz Elizabeth, Jason Kretzer, Suzanne Thorson, Michael Creel. You guys, I am so excited that more and more people are tuning in every week to watch the Laws of
Very
Sex.
excited.
And we really do want to say thank you because, Stacy, as the host of the Laws of Sex, puts a lot of time and commitment to creating valuable content and strategies every single week to bring to you. And so by watching her show and supporting her show, you are making a difference. And
thank you, everyone.
Yeah, and we thank you for watching. So that's amazing. And if anybody wants to download a copy of Dr. Friedman's book, you can go to her website, drstacyfriedman.com, and download this incredible book, Confessions and Lessons of a Sexpert, and learn more laws of sex. And of course, you can always consult with Dr. Stacy Friedman by calling her at 561 899 7669. Visit her website, drstacyfriedman.com, or email her directly at stacy@drstacy.org. That's so cool that you give people your direct email. I love the accessibility.
Yeah. I can be reached anywhere. I mean, I'm on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and all of it is usually Dr. Stacy Friedman as the end line. And I like to tell everybody that my passion is to help you create yours. So if anyone wants to help themselves create their passion, I am always available to listen. I do offer 15-minute complimentary consults. So that way, if you have any questions, you're trying to just kind of figure out how this could help, reach out and I'm happy to help. Until next week, I'm Dr. Stacy, and there's Blanca behind my screen.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, and we'll talk to you soon.
Great show tonight, Dr. Stacy Friedman in the house, and we'll see you next Thursday night at 7 o'clock for the Laws of Sex once again. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you. Good night.
Good night.